The first week of August 2026. A 50-year-old woman sits amidst heavy domestic chaos, documenting her own spiritual rebirth. Her notebook, titled I Am My Own, captures the unvarnished telemetry of daily friction, the record of a life hitting its definitive turning point. But right alongside this intimate diary sits a second set of records, the cold, precise astrological data of her birth. This document provides the exact empirical coordinates of her starting point, a bureaucratic ledger entry from Beaufort, South Carolina, recorded on August 8, 1979, at 9:40 p.m. These coordinates function as a structural map. They represent the initial set of psychological instructions that define the baseline of her personality. The outermost layer of that map is the ascendant, the front door of the personality, the mask she presents to the world. Her ascendant is in Pisces. When someone first meets her, they encounter yielding water. She presents an exterior that is gentle, highly sensitive, and non-aggressive. Like water, this outward behavior naturally adapts to the shape of the emotional container it is placed in. If the room is loud, she becomes a quiet observer. If someone is hurting, she becomes the empathetic listener. Because she acts as a mirror, others project their own needs onto her. They look at that yielding exterior and assume she will comfortably recede into the background, never demanding space of her own. For decades, she operated within this accommodating posture. Yet now, she is stepping out of a 20-year holding pattern to claim absolute sovereignty over her life. The reason for this sudden departure lies directly beneath the Pisces mask. The water camouflages a core ego composed of fixed fire. Her chart features a Leo stellium, the Sun, Mercury, and Venus locked in fire. This roaring furnace demands high visibility, cinematic passion, and absolute validation. The caloric energy required to navigate a normal day is immense. She is constantly deciding whether to maintain the Pisces illusion or to reveal the Leo reality and deal with the fallout. The chart reveals contradictions, keeping this Leo engine from simply taking over. The bottom right cluster marks a high-intensity focus, pulling her in opposing directions. Her ego conceptualizes a grand vision, but her Virgo placements demand she flawlessly lay every single brick, day after day. Even when she attempts to execute that vision, her drive, Mars in Cancer, refuses to move. It stalls out unless the emotional environment is guaranteed to be safe and secure. It is a grueling daily negotiation, an engine that wants to conquer the world, paralyzed by its own internal demands for perfection and emotional safety. To understand how she survives this continuous collision, we have to descend into her most isolated sector, her moon in Aquarius. The moon rules the emotional baseline. In Aquarius, her processing is cold, detached, and intensely rational, and it is exiled in the 12th house, a domain governed by deep subconscious isolation and secrets. When raw emotion hits, her immediate reflex is to separate from it. The moon acts as an observer, locked safely in a dark, soundproof booth, while the Leo ego performs on the stage. She analyzes her sadness. She traces its microscopic origins. By the time analysis is complete, she has effectively thought her way out of the feeling. This intellectual detachment is her ultimate survival tool. It keeps her safe from the exhausting reality of her own contradictory nature. Beyond her personal mechanics, her birth date anchors her to a larger historical moment, defined by the slow-moving outer planets. Her generation carries a mandate to transform outdated and superficial relationship dynamics. In her August 2026 journals, this theoretical mandate hits the physical world. She records the reality of living with an alcoholic partner, a chaotic environment she compares to managing a giant, disorderly toddler. After 20 shared birthdays, she refuses to abandon herself any longer. She accepts the deep emotional calluses required to set hard boundaries and stop the chaos from bleeding her dry. This domestic friction isn't a tragic accident. It is the active, localized pressure valve of a larger generational shift, forcing her to finally focus on her own responsibilities. Returning to the birth certificate, the empirical data begins to look less like a bureaucratic record. The astrology operates as a curriculum of friction. It provides the specific pressure points necessary to force the development of her true identity. The work of August 2026 is the physical integration of all these disparate layers. the mask, the ego, and the observer finally aligning. She is acting as both the mother and the child, pulling a 50-year gestation out of the subconscious and into physical reality. By meticulously tracking the telemetry of her own turning point, she has finally begun to inhabit her true, sovereign self. She is no longer just a participant in her own life. She is the witness.